We arrived to Jamaica from Georgetown after a 3-day, 450-mile passage. We came into Port Antonio and turned right through the West Passage into the West Harbour, initially anchoring before we came into Errol Flynn Marina. Our intention in Jamaica was to cruise the north coast, stopping at various places and then departing from Montego Bay to our next country, Cayman Islands.
Our surroundings by daylight. It is very green because Jamaica has the highest rainfall in the Caribbean, an inch a day. Hence the clouds and the green. That over there is Errol Flynn Marina. We had to come into the marina for check-in formalities, and I don't believe we have ever filled so much paperwork in any of the Windward Islands. Maybe 20 different types of forms?
I've forgotten how to write. Rain! It's going to be back to the rain!
All hands on deck.
Shut the hatches! We haven't had that for a while. Feels like we're back in the Windwards.
Cleared by the quarantine team.
These lovely colours.
We've been allowed to remove the customs flag.
Apparently they're very particular about their flags here. You must have a Jamaican flag. Very colourful. I like flags where you can not get them accidentally upside down. Yo Jamaica! Yeah man!
Errol Flynn Marina. The sun is out. Really bright colours. Beautiful waterfront with lots of flowers there. Moored up in the marina, several other sailing yachts here, and an enormous super yacht.
Ginormous. It's British, of course.
The marina office with very nice grounds, and the marina pool bar. Really beautiful light today. Colors stand out. There is Cloudy Bay, and this waterfront is just magnificent. Such a happy place. Glenn spotted the cookie shop.
My first Jamaican ice cream, and guess what? It's rum and raisin.
This is the mall, and this is the usual music. One of the town squares. Quite a busy traffic, and speakers blaring from everywhere. In the market, let's see what we buy.
Amazing stall that sells everything Jamaican. You want Jamaican colours? They got it here. I think I might have some of these kinky see-through shorts. What do you think? It's the meat market, man. Bit of pork? I bet that was swimming in the Bahamas last week.
Yet another speaker.
Lots of loudspeakers. It's a really buzzy town.
We've just learned that tomorrow is a public holiday, so we'll probably visit the town again. It should be very lively. The light is nearly gone for the day. This is my last shot.
This is the East Harbour. When we came in, we had an option of turning left to East Harbour or right to West Harbour. I thought this would be full of boats and buoys, but it's actually very empty. Could have come in here quite easily.
Very entertaining maneuvers here. An American boat, Jamaican crew, they just rammed this sunken boat, and the guy rowing is trying to help them out.
Now he's towing the rope, right?
Trying to dock, they've hit the roof with their rigging, and only now they are sorting out their fenders.
Our first road trip in Jamaica took us east from Port Antonio on very rough roads. First of all, we visited the Blue Lagoon, which was definitely overrated. Long Bay was a nice beach, but quite rough with the incoming sea. Reach Falls was very pleasant, but it was very crowded due to it being a public holiday in Jamaica. And then finally we went to Berth, which is hot spas, and that wasn't very nice at all. Returning in the evening to get back before the dark.
We've started the official exploration of Jamaica, have a rental car, and we are going to the waterfalls and the Blue Lagoon and Kingston
And all sorts of places.
At Blue Lagoon now. These are the rafts which they are taking the tourists on to visit the place. And this is it, the Blue Lagoon.
Reputedly bottomless, apparently 60 meters.
Going through the typical villages. After French Beach and Boston Beach, where we didn't stop to take pictures, we are now in Long Bay. Pretty wild. This is the panoramic view from the very end, the east end that is. We've passed several bars where locals hang around.
We are heading to Reach Falls. Today is a public holiday, so it's a little bit busy. Too busy, as Oana says.
And here is the waterfall. Refreshing?
Oh, lovely. Get the sweat off. Oh, chilly, in fact. Oana has the pool all to herself. Although by the noise you can hear we are not alone. Down here in Reach Falls, it's holiday time.
It's very pretty when it's quiet.
I'm in my man cave.
Here is Tarzan.
Is that what he does?
Another pool further up. Very interesting road here through a banana plantation.
There's a big load of bananas there.
Yeah, loads of bananas. On the trail to the baths, 130 degrees Fahrenheit, we've been told. The aerial view, sort of speak. And this is it. We took a look for 30 seconds and now we are leaving.
The next day, we headed west from Port Antonio towards Kingston. The initial road along the coast was better than the road east of Port Antonio until we got to Broadgate, where we were diverted off the highway and put onto a very small, busy road, which ended up being one lane in places through the mountains. It took us 4 hours to get to Kingston, and we were so fed up by the time we got there that we headed straight to the Jamaica Yacht Club for refreshments.
Next morning, road trip to the Blue Mountains. After the disappointing road trip yesterday, today we have much better roads for the moment.
It's like a racetrack.
And nicer scenery. A tidy village here.
very unusually tidy this side of Port Antonio. Compared to the yesterday, it was a real mess.
Another colorful village here. A nice wide road turned into a country lane. And we've been stuck on 1 hour and 20 minutes to Kingston for the last hour.
I think we're going backwards.
Kingston downtown, rooftop terrace up there.
It's not very nice, is it?
No.
Not very nice at all.
Lots of traffic. Very run down. Like very run down. At Royal Jamaican Yacht Club in Kingston. It took us 3 hours and a half to drive across the mountains from Port Antonio to here. Let's see if it was worth the trouble. We have a very tired driver slash captain there, ready for his beer at the bar. A pool over there. And view over the marina. A very nice display here. They have lots of trophies. All in desperate need for polishing, as Glen comments. Back in downtown, trying to find somewhere to walk. Managed to park the car and we'll have a few minutes walk.
It's all hustle and bustle up here.
A very busy market here. People selling all sorts. This is the main park of downtown. We've seen quite a few nice buildings, all in advanced state of dilapidation. Such a shame. Maybe one day.
Once a beautiful theatre. Maybe one day again. Having really not enjoyed Kingston at all, we headed out late afternoon on the scenic route back through the Blue Mountains and coffee country. It ended up being a real highlight of the day, especially a little cafe which we found halfway up the mountain. Unfortunately, by the time we got to the top, it was getting dark and we missed some of the beautiful scenery, ending up back in Port Antonio at 7:30 in the evening.
The drive back to Port Antonio on B1 across the Blue Mountain is much nicer than earlier in the morning. No traffic, better views.
Better road.
In places.
Well, actually this road's not so good.
Back in the Blue Mountains again, we found a very nice cafe with a very nice terrace. And we are going to have some sandwiches and coffee and cake.
This is very civilized.
And from the terrace we have a view. Just a view. After all the places we've attempted to eat at today. Look at that.
I bring you to civilization.
Thank you, sir.
Look at this. Nice view down there.
I'm dizzy. This drive has been quite an experience. Today's highlight, together with the coffee stop.
While Oana's not being very well, I have been playing at making a big mess in the aft room. The hydraulic system for the swim platform wasn't sounding very good, and I've had to crawl under that space in there to get to all the hoses, which I found all kinked, ready to burst. This is the space underneath the aft berth where all the steering happens, and I have been up and under here in this gap, which is right underneath the aft locker. And what have I been doing up here? Well, this hydraulic hose, it got severely kinked because it got caught around the actuator bar which brings down the swim platform. I'll actually work it so you can see it. Nasty little piece of kit. And all these cables were getting caught around it, which was not good at all. So I'm tie wrapping them back and making sure that they're all re-strengthened, but we'll need to put some more hydraulic hoses on eventually. And this is what the finished product looks like after my massive tie wrapping. All nice and neat, I hope.
4 days later, we are still in Port Antonio. I've been a bit ill. Meanwhile, Glen has been very busy polishing the stainless steel fittings.
Be careful with the camera on the davits, you might overexpose it.
I'll get blinded.
Yeah.
And he also fixed the swim platform. Our last evening in Port Antonio, going for ice cream and a little bit of provisioning. We found a proper fresh produce market at long last. Very interesting.
Real food.
All sorts of goodies. After 8 days, we are leaving Port Antonio at long last, ready for new adventures now that I'm semi-alive.
Semi being the word.
Heading towards Ocho Rios. Not sure exactly where we will stop today. That island over there used to belong to Errol Flynn. We didn't visit the island because it's completely overgrown. He had a super yacht, 120 feet I think, which he enjoyed living on. He lost it in a game of cards. Is that the right story?
Apparently he gained it and lost it in a game of cards, but who knows? Who knows the truth? Nearly 100 years old now.
A little beach right around the corner from the marina. I didn't see this from the drone footage. How come I've missed it? The Errol Flynn Island from up close.
After a week of strong northeast winds, we finally got out of Port Antonio and headed west. There's still a big swell, but not much wind left us rolling around quite a bit. Our first leg was 35 miles to Oracabessa. Oracabessa Bay is a tiny little bay right next to the old Santa Maria Marina, which used to be in here. We could just about fit in here, and it was just deep enough for us.
Very lush coastline with the mountains in the background. Pity they are covered in clouds. Big swell rolling in. Only 6-7 knots of wind, so we are motor sailing for the moment.
Not much to report on this trip along the coast. There's some big old rolly waves coming in and not much wind, so we could probably just about sail, but the waves would be whacking us all over the place. Even motoring and bringing the wind in front of the beam, we've still got the sail completely backing like that. So without the motor, it would just be banging everywhere. Rather horrible. Okay, up here, without the sound of the engine, you could actually imagine that we're sailing rather than motor sailing. The water is like an inky green, weird colour. Just not the Bahamas. Our medical patient's there in the cockpit. She's doing very well today, considering she's been comatose for the last 2 days. And we've got a bit of cloud, a welcome relief. From our patient this morning. Nice to be out in the air.
Fresh air, yes.
Yeah, first time she's been upright for a few days. Wobbling all over the place.
4 hours later, nearly there. We've motor sailed all the way. Lush green everywhere. Coming into Oracabessa. It's a very small bay. Let's hope it's sheltered enough or deep enough. This is it, our second stop in Jamaica by boat. We were told that 4 or 5 boats can anchor in here, but we suspect that is not really the case. And that's it, all of it. On the way in we caught some fishing floats, hardly visible, so Glenn will try to cut it off.
Success!
Hello, dinghy!
Hello!
We have our first dinghy trip in Jamaica. And tell you what, it's so good to be alive and healthy.
Who, me? Oh, you!
I'm definitely better today. We'll go to the Golden Eye Resort over there. That's the beach of the Golden Eye Resort. That nice building is the police station, which we get a visit from already. And at the opposite end of the bay, it's a James Bond beach from the Dr. No movie.
Yep.
Mind your head.
Duck.
Quack, 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 quack.
Ooh, ooh. Can we fit? Ooh, ooh. Are you sure? I guess we did. And we are in the mangroves. There used to be a marina in here, but no real sign of it, other than these little docks. And this is the resort. Quite nice. Very interesting. And through here it goes back to the sea. This is where Ian Fleming used to live, the author of the James Bond books. And down there they have a very nice beach.
Being thwarted. We couldn't get into a resort. We're losing our touch.
We didn't manage to step ashore.
We called security. We did sneak in with the dinghy and have a damn good look though.
That's a nice looking police station. Lots of fishing boats in the bay here. With the same type of fishing floats, which we caught yesterday.
Maybe I should give them their fishing float back.
A bit of a tight space to anchor in here. But we did manage.
Luckily the wind didn't swing.
Very nice and well maintained at this other side of the bay also, with a small stretch of sand. At least we were allowed to tie up. We'll visit over there. James Bond Beach as seen in Dr. No movie. And I doubt very much it was a movie set. Every little spot of sand that they have, they are really trying to make it nice. This is absolutely spotless. Next we have to beach the dinghy to carry our walk to the Golden Eye restaurant.
I guess this is what they get in the fish traps. We have lionfish, parrotfish, red snapper. And the tarpon are all there for the bits. These are the ugly tarpon. And this is the singing fisherman, who's going to be on YouTube now.
At Golden Cloud Estate, the next one along, open gate means do come in.
Everybody's calling their places golden. Golden night, golden bed, golden property, golden
Cloud?
cloud.
We should be Golden Cloudy Bay.
We are. It's just we make the golden silent.
We've seen the gardens and we were turned around.
Thwarted again. Twice. Twice we've been thwarted. We're losing our technique.
Leaving Oracabessa Bay, heading for 8 Rios.